being awarded as a best defender in the field of human rights, especially protection in the Eastern Horn of Africa, is something that I should be proud of, because there are people who value what we do.
Onesmo Olengurumwa Kasale is one of the leading figures in the field of human rights in Tanzania, who has devoted his entire professional life to ensure that human rights defenders work freely while ending threats and hurdles to their cause. Born on the rolling plains of Loliondo in the Maasai Steppe in Tanzania's northern Ngorongoro district, Arusha region, in 1980, Onesmo was educated at Sakala Primary School, Arusha Catholic Seminary School, Dakawa High School in Morogoro, and then joined University of Dar es Salaam in 2005 for his law studies, where he graduated with honors 4 years later. Hardworking and resilient, he bravely faced a myriad of challenges and dilemmas of the youth while at the university to emerge one of the best students. He was a diligent student in the Faculty of Law and a leader of the Students' Human Rights Organization, recalls Chris Peter Maina, Professor of Law and Human Rights at the University of Dar es Salaam. Driven by his inherent urge to education, Onesmo proceeded with his postgraduate studies at the University of Dar es Salaam, in which he scooped a distinction, research and public policy in 2016. Prior to that, he attended security and protection management training from human rights defenders and social organizations offered by Protection International, where he earned a diploma. He had also attended security management and risk assessment training from York University. Renowned and experienced human rights experts and numerous development organizations have mentored Onesmo. From mentoring to nurturing him, I knew he's a potential leader who would climb to the top leadership position at a very young age, says Kabisama, mentor and board chairperson. For more than a decade, he has tirelessly defended human rights for all, including the most marginalized and discriminated minority groups in Tanzania, often lashing out against injustices wherever people take law into their own hands. As an accomplished human rights lawyer with a razor-sharp legal mind and a self-effacing demeanor, he seamlessly never failed in his quest to see justice is being done. Just recently, in March 2017, he foiled an attempt to lynch 2 suspected fraudsters who were on the verge of being set ablaze by an angry mob in a sprawling Dar es Salaam suburb after they were accused of cajoling with intent to defraud a female shop owner using fake banknotes. He applied his skills in social psychology to convince the rowdy mob to take the suspects to the nearby police station for questioning and subsequent legal action instead of killing them.
Wasameni tu jamani eti hii inatosha hii tuwasamee tu jamani hii inatosha au mnaonaje tuwasamee hao wamepiga tuacheni tu jamani.
As a social researcher who rose from the humble beginnings to feature prominently in local and international scenes as a human rights activist, Onesmo has developed a strong moral compass to defend social causes. His distinctively human and humane personality and his eloquence for social justice has undoubtedly planted a kernel that endures. Hundreds of youth are therefore automatically inspired to join the field of human rights.
Of course, Tanzania is one of the countries in the region that is peaceful, but we should ask ourselves, to what extent will that peace be sustainable? There are many issues that we need to discuss as a country. There are so many countries that are also peaceful sometimes, but today they are not peaceful. So if you see some of the indicators that are within our countries, there are so many laws that are very repressive to the work to human rights, repressive to human rights, the work of human rights defenders, media. We had them, and we are still enacting them as a country. So that is very, very, very astonishing here in Tanzania.
In the year 2017, for instance, has particularly been crucial for Onesmo, personally and professionally, as he marks 14 years of human rights activism. His love for human rights defense started all the way back in April 2003, when he was a student at Dakawa High School. Enraged by lack of important services, he led a group of students to strike, demanding water and electricity services for the school. Onesmo is someone who is very authoritative and likes to step forward and lead. I remember during the water crisis in Dakawa High School in 2003, he mobilized us to demand for the service through a successful demonstration because students could no longer use water from the borehole due to administrative issues, says Godfrey Nyombi, who was his vice president in Dakawa High School in 2003-2004.
I started this work way back 2003 when I was a student at the Dakawa High School in Morogoro. It was a time when a school had a water crisis and electricity just because of the administrative issues, and then I managed to organize and mobilize my fellow students actually to find a better solution of that. Actually, we had a very successful demonstration that was successfully led.
As a versatile figure, always willing to learn new things, Onesmo has attended and presented papers in various local, regional, and international human rights gatherings. He is certainly a reservoir of knowledge, with deep understanding on human rights, international human rights law, research, social justice, good governance, African pastoralism, policy, let alone political issues. In terms of leadership, Onesmo's mentors say he was certainly born a leader, driven by his instincts and innate desire to lead. Onesmo is a person of mixed talents with a huge potential and capability to lead others.
Human right as human right is something that needs a lot of intervention, regardless of who is doing that, regardless of age, race, color, whatever. So we are encouraging young human rights defenders or young people in schools and universities to start talking about human rights, to start learning how they should defend and protect human rights.
His ability to guide others as a head prefect in his primary school days and as a chairperson of Dakawa Students' Government from 2003 to 2004, and subsequently a chairperson of Tanzania Catholic Youth Wing in Dakawa, before he became Secretary, University of Dar es Salaam Law Society, and President of University of Dar es Salaam Human Rights Association between 2008 and 2009, have all shaped his current leadership role in sustainable human rights work and the civil society organization sector. He's one of the most dedicated human rights defenders in Africa, with experience in security and protection management, security management and risk assessment, report writing and project management, says Vicky Ntetema, the executive director of Under the Same Sun. As the president of University Human Rights Association, he fiercely campaigned against the death penalty while organizing conferences on many subjects, including the Rwanda genocide and gruesome killings of people with albinism. Throughout the years, even when still at the university, Olengurumwa has been working with other human rights defenders to promote the rights of the downtrodden, marginalized, women, children, pastoralists, persons with disabilities, and even journalists and politicians, Vicky Ntetema adds. He also coordinated public lectures, seminars, researches, and workshops to highlight legal issues and raise awareness among students and members of the community from the university's Law Society, where he had also served as the secretary. Based on his immense knowledge in the human rights field, Onesmo joined the Dar es Salaam-based Legal and Human Rights Center immediately after his first degree, where he worked as a researcher and writer of Tanzania human rights reports between 2009 and 2012. The 3-year stint at the prestigious human rights organization completely transformed him professionally and enabled him to embark on a journey to fulfill his passion. He's trainable, flexible, and a listener who was quick to catch up with issues, Kabisama says. As an expert who has written widely, Onesmo's work has been quoted in many publications and is a source of reference for fellow researchers. Onesmo has vast experience working with various multicultural communities, locally and abroad. With more than a decade of experience, he has crisscrossed all regions in Tanzania researching on and defending human rights. He has lectured at various universities on the concept of human rights defenders and human rights in general. At some point, Onesmo worked as a consultant in various fields such as human rights, Africa pastoralism, democracy elections, safety and security of journalists, and human rights defenders. At a tender age of 31, he rose into the ranks to become the co-founder and first national coordinator of Tanzania Human Rights Defenders Coalition, a donor-funded umbrella organization with more than 130 members. Some of his responsibilities include ensuring the efficient functioning of the coalition, focusing on a 5-year strategic plan for 2013 to 2017. Under his leadership, the coalition members surged from 14 in 2013 to more than 130 in 2017, including individual human rights defenders, non-profit organizations, and journalists. In the course of 4 years, over 1,000 defenders have been served by the coalition. His work with human rights defenders is excellent indeed. His organization is very responsive and proactive. The last training from them made me more careful and sometimes worried, but is a reality.
In this kind of work that we do is effective only when you are close enough to human rights defenders. And we are lucky when we are dealing with a country where there is an effective coalition, and one of the most effective coalitions that you get to see in Africa is the Tanzania Coalition of Human Rights Defenders.
I had to move my office to more safe areas with more tight security measures, says Manda Ngoitiko, director of Pastoralist Women Council in Arusha and one of the most at-risk women human rights defenders in Tanzania. Importantly, Onesmo's responsibility and coordination capacity has helped shape the coalition in terms of building solidarity and networking among civil society organizations in Tanzania. I am particularly impressed with his level of communication without necessarily regardless of time. His phone is always on, which gives security, hope, and assurance that we can always get help from his organization in case of emergency, explained Father Manda Ngoitiko. The coalition is now trusted and is a point of reference to other similar organizations across the region. For instance, the coalition hosted the newly established Somali Coalition for 2 weeks in 2015, and later the Uganda Human Rights Defenders Coalition in 2017 visited Tanzania Coalition for learning purposes. Onesmo has done a tremendous amount of protection, capacity building work on behalf of the human rights defenders in Tanzania, says Hassan Shaya, Executive Director, Defend Defenders.
The award is the East African Defender of the Year. This particular award is a first of its kind. After 10 years of existence, we have seen that a tremendous achievement and growth at coalition levels. And this is an acknowledgement to the leaders who have established it, spirit-headed, and courageously worked tirelessly for the protection of human rights defenders at local level. So it's the East African Defender of the Year, and it has been awarded Tanzanian Coalition of Human Rights Defenders under the leadership of Onesmo, who have been, for the past 3 years, doing a tremendous amount of protection work, capacity building work, and advocacy work on behalf and with the human rights defenders community in Tanzania.
Under Onesmo's leadership, the coalition is also hailed for being an innovative, current, and flexible organization with a unique style of handling its affairs for better results and achievements. The coalition is striving to work closely with local, regional, and international human rights defenders organizations, development partners, and the United Nations. One of the most effective coalitions that we get to see in Africa is the Tanzanian coalition, says Alois Habimama, Africa Regional Coordinator for Frontline Defenders Organization based in Dublin, Ireland, during the 3rd anniversary of the Tanzania Human Rights Defenders Day. Onesmo has attended and presented reports and papers in the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, European Human Rights Forums, Dublin Human Rights Defenders Forum, Great Lakes Civil Society Forum, EU and AU CSOs forums, and the United Nations Human Rights Council in Geneva. I can describe him as a leader, a diplomat, and a great networker. He knows how to create collaboration and bring experience from across the continent home. Together with his colleagues, he initiated a network and took it at its optimum. He always brings issues of human rights defenders in Tanzania at international fora for concerted strategies and solutions. Onesmo Olengurumwa is a unifier, says Joseph Bikanda, coordinator of Pan-African Human Rights Defenders Network. He has won numerous awards, including Best Student in Self-Reliance in 1997, Best Student in Leadership 2004 and 2009, Best Student in Sports, and Best Human Rights Defender in East Africa by East and Horn of Africa Human Rights Defenders Network in 2016. A native Maasai known for his colorful cultural expressions, Onesmo has, without profit, embraced his culture. His late father was a Maasai traditional leader in Loliondo, better known as Laiguanan, leading his almost diminishing age set, Nyangusi. As he travels locally and internationally, it's easy to see Onesmo dressed in his colorful red shawl and distinctive Maasai jewelry. He sometimes prefers to have a small Maasai club carved traditionally. Although he doesn't have braided hair and distended earlobes, as it is the case of most Maasai Laiguanan, for Onesmo it is possible to balance human rights and his culture. As the adage, charity begins at home, goes, being a resident of Loliondo, Onesmo has been in the forefront in the movement to defend Maasai land from being grabbed by nefarious investors. He's an avid defender of human rights and a voice for the pastoralists and pastoralist human rights defenders who have been persecuted in their own land. He has actively defended pastoralist activists in Loliondo, and he has represented them in national, regional, and international dialogues, says Yannick Ndoinyo, Ward Councillor, Ololosokwan, Loliondo, and Director, Ramat Foundation. God-fearing and a devout Catholic who crossed over from Lutheran before dreaming of becoming a Catholic priest, Onesmo's religious views remain moderate and selective. He describes religion as something to be seen in the four eyes prism, to avoid plunging oneself into human-made controversies. As a married man blessed with children, he nevertheless respects people with religious views other than his own. Despite his busy schedule, he always spares time to spend with his family and children. He's an avid reader, always sifting through piles of reports and books. Even in his old model Toyota RAV4, journalists call him around the clock, seeking his opinion on a range of national and international issues. He would even park his car and respond to journalists' calls for his opinion on various issues. This is a half-lifetime achievement that most young men and women will desire to attain. Despite security threats in his work, such as being branded non-citizens, inciters, or non-patriotic, Onesmo sees more decades ahead in the field of human rights. He's a fearless defender who doesn't see the need to change course in the middle of the fight. For him, leaving his job to become a politician is a total demotion. Kenneth Simbaya, former Union of Tanzania Press Club president, describes him as a staunch human rights activist who is unshaken when it comes to standing and advocating for upholding human rights. Onesmo believes in building leaders. He has inspired many young people, among them Benedict Ishabakaki, who now works with Hivos Tanzania. His advice to young human rights defenders is to work hard and shape their careers while in school and sustain it for their entire life. Onesmo believes the work of human rights promotion and protection requires everyone on board. Human rights are well protected if everyone takes this responsibility regardless of age or orientation.
Well, as a human rights defender who have been working for the past 14 years, I see my future in the same field of human rights. This is a half-lifetime achievement I am celebrating today after 14 years, and I see a lot of achievement in it because many people are now happy with the work that I do. I've saved so many people in the field of human rights, and they still need my service or our services as human rights defenders. So I see myself so many years to come in the same field of human rights, and I don't plan to go in anywhere. Maybe some people may be thinking that perhaps I may later on join politics. I want to let them know that I'm not even planning, I'm not even dreaming of becoming a politician in any time. For me to drop the work of human rights and join politics, I feel like I'm demoting myself.